Sorry for like storage problems again. Now let me continue my story now, should we? So, what was I talking about? Yeah. So long story short, there's a group of protesters who went around and started smashing all like the organization buildings around. So it's basically led to like the teenager quickly losing his position and in power over the organization. And as to how he was able to do that, although he was like only 15 and 16 years old, and therefore wasn't legally allowed to work, he simply had like an influence and charisma over all the people working there. They basically consider him an unofficial officer there, or a ranking official. Long story short, with no buildings to operate on, the teenager once again lost his power. He decided that ultimately it would be better if it was to end. He has spent a few months of his own life and a majority of 2024 just attempting to go on a power struggle to prove his usefulness to the world. Long story short, he basically had already proven that. Um, no one will eventually know about the identity of the person who would lead the thing about the cryogenic weapons shooting down all those drones, and they don't have to. Oh, and also about the raided organization buildings, the protest, the government decided to take advantage of a few more laws and confiscated a few of the organization's technologies in response to this, under bizarre arguments and stuff. So yeah, that that was the end of story two. Oh, and by the way, for your information, that female work that female worker pretty much owed that teenager's pretty much his life. If it wasn't for her lawsuit and stuff, it's possible the organization's power or operations, and therefore his research all over Mindanao would have like completely seized up. He was thankful that she had like saved many people's research from getting stolen from this law, or like halted from the organization's attempts of like stopping this confiscation by outright outright shutting down their buildings there. As a result of that, the many things he learned was basically owed to her. So he made her a promise that once he's able to hold on to a stable career and be of legal age, he would then marry her. His family was like quite surprised by this though, because first of all, she was an older woman. Not to mention, not by older woman, I was like she was like still young, but she's somewhat older than him. Another thing is that they basically just they been friends for like a few months, basically. But anyways, by the time Microbots and Magic takes place in 2028, basically 4 years after Story Two's events, we would know very well that they both had already married by then. Okay, so let's continue to Story 3. There was in the year 2026, roughly 2 years after the events of Story number 2, there was an Italian farmer and a plumber. Yes, he's Italian, he's a farmer and a plumber. Can you guess his name? Well, you'd be really surprised because his name is actually Mario. Yes, okay. So, Mario was pretty much like somewhere in his 50s, like he's like 50 years old by 2026. He's a huge advocate for technology actually. As a result, he was basically against the organization for hoarding the many advancements they could be giving humanity right now, simply because of their spite. Um, However, he was simply another protester, and he could not just risk getting shot by a cryogenic weapon. I know it's non-fatal as I already said, but still quite painful. Not to mention that he's 50 years old. He's starting to weaken eventually. At some point in Italy, more specifically Venice, Italy, Mario was just chilling somewhere there, and then he just saw a, a member of the organization. And by the way, organization members are like actually can be easily called out for like wearing a type of uniform, official uniform or worker, working outfit provided by the organization. Some have like a type of a type of I don't know what you call these things, but I think it's a bandana or a arm bandana, but basically a type of symbol that would signify that part of this organization. And long story short, Mario went up to him and started lecturing him about the organization's motives and why he shouldn't be working for the organization, and that it would be much better if they were to share their discoveries with the rest of the world. But like the organization worker was like quack off. The worker was 20 years old at the time. So he was basically just young. He just joined the organization. He has a similar ideology to the organization. Now, thing is, he has this crush of sorts to one of his friends, 22-year-old churchgoer. She's, she works at a bank and she like goes to church like every Sunday and Saturday. In fact, the fact that the organization worker was actually a Christian was what led to both of them meeting. He was in the same church as her and they both met at some point. They both pretty much like each other, but they're not really sure about it yet. So like you can imagine it something like that. Why am I saying this? Character development. Hehe. Now, Mario proceeded to stir up a crowd by pointing out that he was indeed an organization worker in public, and a bunch of anti-organization people quickly ganged up on the guy and beat his poor butt. And then when the police came and found out he was an organization worker, they used they basically forced him to for interrogation stuff about organization's workings. He was basically jailed, basically. It was kind of sad because now the public knows and now his friends and family know. And their organization just tells him to let dude go. So, long story short, the scientific community did some more legal loopholing and managed to successfully get the organization to give up a type of new engineering and drone designs to the public. And long story short, new types of technologies were invented because of that, um, being used as a type of foundation for these new technologies. Which basically, and Mario, on the other hand, was recognized as a really good dude who managed to get an organization work and also a huge loss for the organization and a huge win for the overall progress of the scientific community. Moral of story number 3: don't mess with plumbers named Italian plumbers with Mario. And Nintendo's probably going to sue me for this. That's basically the 3 short stories I just wanted to tell you all. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.